All right, today we are talking about multiplying and dividing integers. And I think you're going to find after all your work with adding and subtracting that multiplying and dividing actually goes really well. It's an easier concept. There's a really strong pattern to look for. Math is all about patterns, and there's definitely a pattern with multiplying and dividing. So what we're going to start out with is just looking at two sets of numbers. Here's a set of numbers that all use the integers positive 2, positive 5, positive 10, or negative 2, negative 5, negative 10. And I'm going to talk through each of these, and as I do, I want you to look for a pattern. So we know, oh, by the way, as you go through this sheet, anytime you're writing positives down, you should write them in pencil. And anytime you're writing negatives down, you should write them in red. Could be red pencil, could be red pen. And on the worksheet itself, because I wasn't able to copy it for you in color, when you see a negative, copy over it in red. So here we go. Positive 2 times positive 5 equals positive 10. That's something you've been doing since, I don't know, second grade, third grade? Positive 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Negative 2 times positive 5 is negative 10. And negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. Using those same integers in division, we get this. Positive 10 divided by positive 2 is positive 5. That could have gone the other way also. We could have done positive 10 divided by positive 5 would have given us positive 2. Negative 10 divided by positive 2 is negative 5. Positive 10 divided by negative 2 is negative 5. And negative 10 divided by negative 2 is positive 5. Okay, so I want you to pause the video for just a minute, and I want you to see if you can recognize a pattern that took place in all of those. And what we're talking about is a pattern in the first two integers and how they compare to the second. So what pattern do you see in the signs of these and the sign of that one? The signs of these and the sign of that, and the signs of these and the sign of that. In division, we're looking for the pattern in the signs of these and the signs of the answer, signs of these, signs of the answer, signs of these, signs of the answer, and signs of these. That was a terrible circle. Signs of these and the signs of the answer. So pause for a minute and look to see if you find a pattern. All right, let's look at the one next to it. So again, positive 3 times positive 4, positive 12. Positive 3 times negative 4, negative 12. Negative 3 times positive 4, negative 12. And negative 3 times negative 4, positive 12. On your own paper, the pattern that we're looking for is going to stand out more if you've taken the time on this negative 4, for example, to write over it in red, because I wasn't able to copy it for you in color. All right, one more set for patterns. Look at these two, positive 12 divided by positive 4, positive 3. These two, negative 12 divided by positive 4, negative 3. These two, positive 12 divided by negative 4, negative 3. And finally, those two, negative 12 divided by negative 4, positive 3. So again, pause the video and now look at all of the, excuse me, all of these, all of that, and see if you notice a pattern. Okay, I've gotten rid of all my extra stuff here because I want to go back and look at this pattern. Notice, in a case like this, and a case like this. What's the same about those two things I've circled? They're similar to what I've circled here and what I've circled here. What do you notice is the similarity in those four? Well, hopefully what you noticed is in these, each of the factors has the same sign. Either they are both positive or they're both negative. And when they have that same sign, the answer is going to be positive. Here, the number we have and what we're dividing by are both, and we call these by the way, the dividend and the divisor, are both the same sign and the quotient is positive. Here, both the same sign and the quotient's positive. However, when you get to a place like this, where the factors have different signs, one's positive, one's negative, or one's negative, one positive, you get a negative answer. Same thing right here. You have negative 10 divided by positive 2, you get a negative answer. Positive 10 divided by negative 2, you get a negative answer. So when these are different signs, your answer is going to be negative. Look at this. Happened in this one too. Positive 3 times negative 4, negative 12. Negative 3 times positive 4, negative 12. Negative 12 divided by positive 4, different signs, negative 3. Positive 12 divided by negative 4, different signs, negative 3. But on each of these where the signs were the same, let me circle a little less there. Each of these where the signs were the same, answer's positive. Here, signs are the same. They're both negative. Negative 3, negative 4, answer's positive. Positive 12 divided by positive 4, answer's positive. Negative 12 divided by negative 4, same sign, answer positive. So that's the pattern. So let's write that pattern down. And the pattern's pretty straightforward. Here's the pattern. Same signs. Equals positive. Different signs equals negative. And it works for both multiplication and division. You don't have to learn two different rules. It's the same rule for both. So let's go ahead and actually try some problems. Now this first batch, what I've done is I have left out, I've had a missing piece. So you're going to see this on both these sets. There's a missing piece. You're going to figure out what the missing piece is. So why don't you do these first 8 problems. 3 multiplying, 3 dividing. Go ahead, pause the video, do those, and then we'll come back and discuss them. All right, we're back. I watched a little English Premier League while you were gone, or while you were working on problems. We had this pause. Leicester City is up 2-0 over Everton. Beautiful run for the first goal. All right, let's get back to this. So, positive 3 times what equals positive 18? Well, we know the answer is positive, so that tells us the signs have to be the same. So 3 times what makes 18? 3 times positive 6. Positive 3 times negative 6. Signs are different. Answer has to be negative. What times positive 6 will give us negative 18? Well, the answer is negative, so the signs have to be different. Negative 3. And what times negative 3 will give us positive 18? It's a positive answer. This is a positive answer. Signs have to be the same then, which means the missing value, the missing product, or excuse me, missing factor, negative 6. Here we go. Positive 18 divided by what gives us positive 6? Well, if the answer is positive, these two have to have the same sign, so it's 18 divided by 3. Negative 18 divided by positive 3 gives us what? Well, positive dividing a negative, so signs are different. Tells us the answer is negative. 18 divided by 3 is 6. It's kind of like doing the subtraction. Remember when I said that for me with subtraction, I asked 2 questions. Which do I have more of? That tells me the sign, and then how many more. Here I ask 2 questions. What does my answer look like? Positive or negative? That tells me the sign of the missing number, and then I just do the division. 18 divided by 3 is 6. If you want to have a multiplication chart out while you're doing that part, that's fine. And let's see, so something divided by -3 is -6. Well, my answer is a negative, which means the missing thing has to be positive. What divided by 3 is 6? 18 divided by 3 is 6. And then -18 divided by -3, well, signs are the same, which means my answer is positive 6. Okay, there's another set right here with the 4s and the 24s and the 6s. Go ahead and work those and then turn the video back on. All right, so answer's positive 24 right here. So 4 has to be a positive, and then 4 times what makes 24? 4 times 6. -4 times +6. Well, the signs are different, which means the answer is negative. In this case, -24. Something times -6 to give us -24. Well, signs have to be different. +4. And -4 times -6, signs are the same. This will be a positive answer. All right, the division in this group. Positive divided by positive will give us a positive answer. Negative divided by something to get a negative answer. These signs have to be different, which means that has to be a positive. In this case, +4. Something divided by +6 giving us -4. These have to have different signs right here, which means this has to be negative. In this case, it's -24. We're using the same 6 integers for all these, either +4, +6, +24, or -4, -6, -24. And then finally for the last one, the negative divided by a negative, we know the answer has to be positive. In this case, +4. So there you go. You should be seeing the pattern pretty well now, which means you should do really well on these problems. Why don't you go ahead, do all 8 of these multiplication problems and all 8 of these division problems, then turn the video back on and we will go through and check your work. Okay, you've had a chance to do some problems, so let's go ahead and go through these. And I'm going to start with this column now. Again, if we do this column and you realize you made a mistake and you know what you're doing wrong, then pause the video, fix your answers in the next column. Don't just sit and passively watch. +3, +5. This is a case where both of them have the same sign. So we know the sign of our answer is positive. 3 times 5, 15. -9 times something equals -18. Well, the only way you can have a situation where you get a negative answer is if the signs are different. So since that's a negative, this has to be a positive. What times 9 makes 18? 3 times 9 makes 18. +3. +5 times -5. What do you get when you multiply a positive and a negative? When the signs are different, you get a negative. When you multiply 5 times 5, you get 25. And +4 times something to get +20. The only way to get a positive is to have same signs, and that's true either same signs, both positive or both negative. So this is +4 times +5. Okay, if you're ready to move on, just leave the video running. I'm going to do these answers, but if you realize you were doing something wrong and some of these answers are wrong, pause the video and fix them. -1 times +9. Anytime you have a positive times a negative, your answer is a negative. 1 times 9 is 9. 10 times something to make negative 90? Well, it's a negative, which means the signs have to be different. Since that's a positive, this has to be a negative. 10 times what makes 90? 10 times 9. So 10 times negative 9 is negative 90. Here's a situation where both have the same signs right there. So we know same signs means positive answer. 8 times 5 is 40. And finally, negative 3 times something to get positive 21. The only way to get the positive is to have same signs. 3 times 7 makes 21, so negative 3 times negative 7 makes positive 21. Okay, now, pause the video if you haven't already done the divisions. Pause it, go ahead and do the division problems, and then we'll go through them together. So, different signs, negative 15, positive 3. Different signs mean we'll have a negative answer. 15 divided by 3 is 5. Negative answer. Negative answer means different signs, so that's a negative. This has to be a positive. What divided by 4 makes 2? 8 does. So positive 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. Positive answer. Positive answer means same signs. Negative 40 divided by negative something. Signs have to be the same. Well, 40 divided by 10 makes 4. So negative 40 divided by negative 10 is positive 4. And last one in this column, negative 45 divided by positive 5. Signs are different, which means the answer is negative. 45 divided by 5 is 9. All right, same message as last time. If you got all of those right, and you feel like, man, I get this, watch the answers to the last 4. If you missed any of those, then what you need to do is pause the video, look back at your mistake, and then fix whatever you need to fix in the next 4. All right, so here we go. Positive 18 divided by negative 9. Signs are different. Answer is negative. 18 divided by 9 is 2. Positive 25 divided by something is negative 5. Well, the only way to get a negative answer is if the signs are different. Since that's a positive 25, this has to be a negative, and 25 divided by negative 5 equals 5. We haven't talked about it with these division problems, but there is a way to check those. The way to check those is take what you divided by, multiply it by the answer, you'll get that. So if we take negative 5, and we multiply it by negative 5, we will get positive 25. With multiplication, let's just take a step back before we solve the last 2. With multiplication, the way that you check is you divide the answer by either one of the factors, and your answer will be the other factor. So that's the check for that problem, and that's the check for that problem. All right, last couple here. We divided something by positive 8. We got negative 7. Well, the fact that we got a negative means signs had to be different, so that's a negative. And 56 is what you divide by 8 to get 7. And finally, negative 36 divided by something to get negative 6. Once again, the answer is a negative, so we know the signs have to be different. This is a positive 6. Okay, let's go to the back of your paper. We got just a few more things to do on the back. We're going to try a few here where we're doing substitution. So do this top row. You're solving these with the idea that R is positive 12, S is negative 4, and T is negative 6. Take a few moments, take whatever time you need. Solve those and then turn the video back on and we'll discuss. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention it, but in each case, don't try to solve this in your head. Go ahead and actually write them out and use your pencil and your red pen again to write them out. So R is a positive 12. So here write down that you have positive 12. and you're dividing it by s, which is -4. So do that step first before you try to solve it. All right, I'll let you take a couple minutes to work here and then turn it back on. We'll listen to answers. Okay, so you had a chance to work those. Let's go through and solve all of these four, and then you'll pause and solve those four. So positive divided by negative. I know my answer is a negative. 12 divided by 4 is 3. R times S divided by positive 16. So my first step is R, which is positive 12, times S, which is -4. All of that divided by positive 16. Well, I know R times S is going to be negative because the signs are different. And 12 times 4 is 48. So we've got 48 divided by positive 16. Signs are different, so I know my answer is negative. 48 divided by 16 is 3. T minus R divided by 3. So T is -6. So I have -6 minus positive 12 divided by 3. I'm going to change this to an addition problem. So I'm going to have -6 plus, and I'm adding the opposite of positive 12, so I'm adding -12, all of that divided by 3. Now, in case you had made a mistake up to this point, go ahead and pause the video, fix it, and finish out the problem correctly. All right, -6 plus -12 is -18. This is a positive 3. I didn't put that on there originally, but we know that that's a positive if you don't see a sign. So we're dividing that by positive 3. The signs are different, so the answer is going to be -18 divided by 3 is 6. And then finally, 8 minus R divided by -2. So I've got 8, now that's a positive 8. Positive 8 minus R, which is 12, positive 12, all of that divided by -2. I'm going to turn this into an addition problem. So I'm going to have positive 8 plus the opposite of positive 12 is -12, all of that divided by -2. 8 positives and 12 negatives. So what do I have more of? I have more negatives. How many more? 4 more. -4 divided by -2. Signs are the same, so the answer is positive 2. Okay, so now go through, keep those where you can see them as kind of a model, and do these 4 problems, and then turn the video back on and we'll discuss them. Okay, let's give ourselves some work and finish things out here. So, first problem, A divided by C. Well, A is -10, so -10 divided by C, which is -5. The signs are the same, so the answer is positive. 10 divided by 5 is 2. A times B divided by C. So A is -10 times B, which is positive 4, divided by C, which is -5. So positive and a negative multiplied together here on top. -10 times positive 4 is -40. Negative times positive, always negative, divided by -5. Now I know my answer has to be positive because these signs are the same. -40 divided by -5, so those signs are the same. Positive 40 divided by 5 is 8. A minus B divided by negative 2. A is negative 10, minus B is positive 4, divided by negative 2. Let's make this into an addition problem. So we're going to have negative 10 plus the opposite of positive 4 is negative 4. All of that divided by negative 2. Negative 10 plus negative 4 is negative 14 divided by negative 2. Those signs are the same, so the answer has to be positive. In this case, positive 7. And lastly, and again, if you are realizing any kind of mistake you've been making and you think you should rework this problem right here, then pause the video and rework it. Give yourself a chance to be successful. All right, negative 18 plus A, which is negative 10, divided by B, which is positive 4. Well, negative plus negative, there's no zero pairs there. This is negative 28 divided by positive 4. Signs are different, so I know my answer is negative, and 28 divided by 4 is 7. So my answer is negative 7 to this. Negative 7 right there. Final answer here was positive 7. Final answer here was positive 8. Final answer here was positive 2. All right, let me go back in and just fill these. I didn't do them as we were going, but this final answer was positive 2. This final answer was negative 6, negative 3, and also negative 3. All right, so there you go. Be sure you bring whatever questions you have to class, okay? And remember again, there is a pattern on this. Let's write it one more time down here. Let's write it, in fact, let's write it two ways. Let's write it both in words and in symbols. So here's the words. Signs are the same. Answer is positive. Write that down, okay? Signs are different. Answer is negative. And there are only a limited number of combinations. We're going to write those combinations because you can do all the combinations for multiplication and division in this little space. Now, we couldn't do all the number combinations because there are an infinite number of numbers. But in terms of keeping track of the sign, here are the combinations. If you multiply a positive times a positive, you get a positive. If you multiply a negative times a negative, you get a positive. Signs are the same. If you multiply a positive times a negative, answer's negative. And if you multiply a negative times a positive, answer's negative. Anytime signs are different, see, these are same sign problems right here. Let me change that color. Let's get rid of that red and go to black. These are same sign problems. Those are always going to be positive answers. These are different sign problems. Always going to be negative answers. And that same is true for division. We can do all the division. Positive divided by positive equals positive. And negative divided by negative equals positive. Same signs, positive answer. On the other hand, positive divided by negative equals negative, and negative divided by positive equals negative. Same signs, positive answers, positive, same. These are same signs. Positive answer. Different signs, negative answer. So different signs will always give you an answer that's negative. And that sums it all up. Everything in that whole lesson sums up right to this diagram and those words right there. Okay, so you are now masters of multiplying and dividing integers. Be sure you bring your questions to class, masters. Okay? See you in class.